Hi.
The what? Blight. Oh.
After you said that, I dug around, there was, most of it doesn't have sauce.
Dan, is there something wrong with the agenda? Oh.
He was saying that there was.
Oh, really?
I don't know, he was saying there was something on.
No, Don said
I noticed that a bunch of water have started to show up.
this was on, you didn't see that this was on the agenda.
Oh. You want it on the agenda? Well, you can't take a
Make it go to where I need to go. Have the county stuff on it. It's all just, all it wants to do is wake up. I don't know what I do.
No, it has to be scheduled
Now you should be
to
able
make a motion.
open things.
I just wanna go to get rid of all the questions.
I know, my phone said like 50 or something on the website. Yeah. I was like, no. Really? Tenth or something?
It was what?
Oh, that's a.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll blow up something tonight. We have a lot of humidity.
Uh-oh. We got handouts.
That's for the 294th Street discussion that we were waiting over. It's,
Now see that last handout you had that had the bridges? I'm gonna, no, I want one that has their names when everybody goes. I know the Stone Creek Church Bridge. I don't know any of the other bridges, they have names, Fleegs Bridge maybe. But what,
Stone, James Road, because Jamesville County's right here.
okay,
Johnson.
that's the Johnson one.
And then Fleages.
This is Fleegs.
I don't know why Johnson's called Johnson. I don't know if Johnson lived there at one time.
Stone Church. Thank you, that was easy. There, yes. Didn't we? Oh, great, now where do I go? Fuck me running. Come on. Now how do I get there?
Says the system tabs.
turn on the TV in the hallway too? Are we able to do that? In case people wanna sit up.
Where that remote is, I guess.
Cause we can broadcast into the lobby. People wanna sit up.
Thank you, guys.
Wanda, you wanna take care of that?
What?
You wanna take care of that?
No, that would be more of a Ryan IT kind of thing. Did you bring that for the road?
There's a chair up in the front row if you want to sit. Thank you, guys.
Which one are you looking at? 12A? Okay, what's your citation? Third. Huh?
Everyone, would everyone, Gary, you ready? Everyone turn on your
I can
mics.
tell you.
Your mics.
I have this.
Gary, there we got it. Thank you.
I have
Our watches and the computer says it's 6 o'clock, so we're a little off from the clock up there, but I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Please, everyone stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Would you please check and see if your phones are on silent or off? Thank you. Patty, do you want to take roll call, please?
Wanda,
here.
Ryan,
Here.
John,
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Don.
Here. Is there anybody on the commission that needs to abstain from any of the actions that come before the commission today? If so, say aye.
I do. I have to abstain on the second set of claims.
Thank
Because
you.
they involve Harmon and Fox Law Office.
Thank you.
I do not.
I do not. I do not.
I do not. The next item is approval of the agenda, and item 5 and item 8 will be taken off the agenda for tonight and put on the next meeting. It's time for public,
Motion.
a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd move to approve the amended agenda.
Have a
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by
John.
John.
For further discussion for that resolution, could we have Rob, could we have your office look over that resolution and get back to us,
He
please?
did,
Okay. Okay, so why are we tabling it if he has looked at it?
Oh, we're tabling it because we discussed it before he gave us that answer.
Okay. Are we okay with moving forward with that?
Well,
With the last sentence?
the last paragraph says that all prior resolutions and relative to motor vehicles will be rescinded, not about boats. I'm not sure we want to rescind everything about motor vehicles.
Okay, okay, got it.
Thank you, Rob. Next item is public comment. Public comment is
Mr.
a
Chairman,
time,
I think we need to vote on that.
Oh, we did not.
oh, you didn't vote on the agenda, sorry. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same, motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Public comment is a time for persons to address this body on any subject. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. There shall be no personal attacks against the members of this body, county staff, individuals, or organizations. The chair has the authority to enforce this policy. Failure to adhere to these rules may result in forfeiture of the remaining speaking time. The next item was, and we have one person, Mr. Doug Nelson from Wayne, Nebraska.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Don. I'm from Wayne, Nebraska, and I'm here on behalf of wind turbines. Wayne County has been saturated, inundated with wind turbines, and in fact, about 12 years ago, I personally was thinking about getting into that business myself until I did a little research and found out that wasn't for me personally. And I've done a lot of research since then, and I put on some seminars and addressed some commissioners when they wanted some more information on wind turbines. And I'm here to talk about that just a little bit and see if anybody, including the commissioners, would have use for one of my information sessions. One thing in particular, on the front page of that handout, you might notice that in Saline County, Nebraska, in 2021, one of the wind turbine contractors filed a $30,852,000 construction lien on 99 tracts of real estate in Saline County. And the turbine developer apparently didn't get their construction company paid or satisfied, and this $30,852,000 lien, construction lien, ended up being filed on the real estate of 99 tracts of real estate of the people who had signed those leases. So there's some things you kind of need to be careful about if you are approached or addressed by wind turbine developers. I can talk about the economics. I can talk, we can do a little cash flow on the thing and show you the income based on the efficiency of a megawatt and the wholesale market of it, and we can analyze the costs using the cost of a megawatt and typical IRS guidelines for expenses, and we can do a reasonably accurate cash flow based on that. We can talk about tax credits. Tax credits are huge. They won't work without tax credits and other subsidies. I'm going to ask the commissioners a question here.
Doug, we can't respond.
Oh, all right. We'll skip that. I'll just tell you, a tax credit is a credit on a non-deductible expense. Namely, taxes are non-deductible. That means that in the end, a tax credit is like tax-free income. Its value is directly related to the magnitude of the tax bracket of the recipient of a tax bracket, of a tax credit. anyway, I could get into that more on my on a information program like that. Also, I could show how wind turbines and the renewable energy, like solar as well, is set up so that it will increase your electrical costs. And I can show you several ways how that happens. I also can talk about leases. I have several copies of leases that I've analyzed in my file, and we can talk about that too if anybody's interested. To wind up, I like to point out that in the absence of politics and personal interests, I believe that two men equally educated and adequately informed seldom disagree. So thank you very much, and if anybody's interested, talk to your commissioners, and you could set me up on the agenda, give me a half hour, 45 minutes if you want, and a chalkboard and a big drink of water. And I've done 3 hours without stopping. But you know, half hour, 45 minutes, about all most people can tolerate anyway, so that's why I'm here. Thank you very much. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Doug. Next item on the agenda.
Oh, look, we have another speaker.
Oh, okay.
My name is Diane Hovden, and I attended the Solar Task Force meeting last week that was formed by the County Commission to make recommendations to the Planning and Zoning Board and eventually the County Commission for development of zoning ordinances regarding solar farms. I left the task force meeting with the understanding that the task force was making a recommendation to the Commission to adopt a temporary zoning measure and requests that projects over 50 kilowatts would require a conditional use permit. These temporary zoning measures would only be in effect until the task force completed its work and a permanent ordinance was enacted. I was surprised to see today that the agenda item for the meeting tonight was simply stated solar farm discussion. I thought the agenda item would have read something such as consideration of a temporary zoning for solar farms. I assume this commission formed the Solar Farm Task Force with the intent that you wanted that group to provide direction to the commission on how to best proceed on the issue of zoning ordinances for solar farms in Yankton County. I hope you will follow through and respect the work and time they are spending on this issue. As a commission, you formed this task force to do the legwork. Now, as a commission, I hope you allow them to do their job and request that you respect their opinions and recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Hearing none. The next item on the agenda then is item number 6, Sundance Road District petitions.
I'm Todd Huber. I live at 31083 Sundance Ridge Road, Yankton, South Dakota. Let me pull up the screen here. I am seeking approval of a road district for Sundance Ridge Road. It is located in South Zifkoff Township. It consists of 17 residential parcels and 4 agricultural parcels for a total of 21 parcels and 17 landowners. All parcels in the entire road have been surveyed. Sundance Ridge Road was built in 2006 to 2009. The road was built to access the lots located within Sundance Ridge development. I've been maintaining the road for the last 14 years. Now that I'm attempting to get a road district established, some of the lot owners, 6 of them, want to split off and portion of Sundance Ridge Road and create their own road district called South Sundance Ridge Road. At the last county commission meeting, we had proposed this also, and you told us to go back and try and compromise. So since then, we've had 2 meetings with the group, with the residents. A variety of solutions were discussed with no major breakthroughs. The majority of the residents are still in favor of one road district using the assessed property value mill levy system. We believe there are still 6 of the 17 lot owners that still are in favor of 2 separate road districts. It was acknowledged that 2 of the residents that are leading the proposal for the separate road district do not agree between themselves as to how the proposed road district would collect funds. One wants to only collect from 3 out of the 6 that have houses, and the other wants to collect equally from all 6 lot owners, whether they have a house or not. They may actually want to split into a 2nd and 3rd road district. At our last road district meeting, it was agreed that we should proceed, we would proceed according to the county commission's decision as to whether there should be 1 road district or 2. So I guess that's what I am asking for, is your decision on whether we should proceed with 1 or 2 road districts.
Does anybody else want to speak about the road districts?
I would like to.
Please.
So if you all could imagine that you're gonna have your kitchen.
Name and address.
Rick Harold, I live in Dimmock. I'm one of the property owners, one of the first 6 that can't figure out what they wanna do. I would like you to all imagine you're gonna have your kitchen remodeled, and somebody wanted you to sign a contract, but you had no idea what it was gonna cost, had no idea what was gonna be done. Or even beyond that, imagine they were even gonna sign the contract for you. They were gonna come here to the county commission and not even let you know that they were coming. So I'm against the 1 district based on that alone.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bob Curry. I reside at 31070 Starview Drive, Yankton, South Dakota. I own lot 4. I am one of the 6 on the bottom end. First off, I'll address 2 things.
Sir, could you just pull the microphone a little closer?
Better?
There.
Okay. Mr. Huber stated that we disagree among ourselves, which is not true. We're unanimous in how we want to approach our road district. We have discussions back and forth. We've discussed everything from paying the same amount to paying different amounts based on property values to paying different amounts based on road usage to, and probably 3 or 4 other things. We have not yet decided anything, because that's something that the group has to decide once the road district is formed. I can't make that decision. Nobody else unilaterally can do that. We have several issues, and the biggest issue is that we have learned over the last 4 months in trying to work with the other group, and I'll just call lot owners 7 on as the other group, that we basically can't believe anything that's said. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the documents that I provided. There's a laundry list of things that I've proven are inaccurate and false. The single biggest thing that I want to make a point of tonight is that these are 2 separate developments. Lots 1 to 7 were developed by Todd and Lisa Huber. Lots 8 to 18 were developed by Sundance Development LLC. 2 separate developers. The first group of lots were completed in March of 2007. The rest of the lots didn't start until 2008. And the Hubers did not even own, Sundance Development LLC did not even own the lots for for lots 12 through, I think, 17 until 2008. So their claim that it's one development from the beginning of time and the road existed in 2006 can't be accurate because it doesn't exist. There was a gate, a locked gate constructed just after lot 7, which is where the road stopped originally, which was the first development. Since you can't put a locked gate on a road that is designated as public access in perpetuity on the plat, the only assumption that I can make is that that locked gate was on private property at the end of the road. That northern section of the road needs a lot of work. Okay, where's the other one? There it is. Gary, I'm not finding the thumb drive I brought.
You can switch your thumb drive in there, put it in again.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, one of the major claims that has been made Okay, this is Todd's road maintenance agreement. There's a separate road maintenance agreement for lots 1 to 7, as there is from 8 to 18. And the reason, just to cover this, to stop any confusion, the reason lot 7 is not included in 1 to 6 is that they were originally included. But when Todd decided to basically sneak down here and file the paperwork with the auditor, in order to try to get it pushed out without giving us any notification that he was doing that. And he had kept us waiting in the wings for 2 weeks for a meeting with the lawyer that's supposedly helping him put the road district together. Quite by accident, I stopped to get a new set of rules and regulations to make sure that we were doing everything we should be doing in the correct way, and I found out that he had filed a petition. So we contacted our lawyer. I contacted everybody in our group except for one individual, said, here's the situation. The only way we can protect ourselves is to file for our own road district. Otherwise, we're done, we're stuck, we'll be in theirs. So I got signatures, filed the petition that afternoon. That's how we ended up where we are today. Another thing that puts things to mind, and just, okay, let me close this down, go to the next one. In doing my research, I found out that Sundance Development LLC was dissolved by the state for failure to file their paperwork and pay their fees. And that happened on September 15th, 2021. Now, I did tell the Hubers about that at our meeting 2 weeks ago because they still have properties listed in the LLC's name. And I said, you guys may want to go fix that. That evening, they refiled the reports with the state and on the 14th, they received a restoration of their LLC. And there's a state track of the items. You can see here's where it was dissolved, and then here are the reports, and then on the 14th they got reinstated. on his maintenance agreement, he loves to say that they've built this road with a 22-foot wide road surface, 22-foot ditches on either side, and that everybody in lots 1 through 18 have signed that they will help protect that road. The issue is that, as you can see by the pictures there, let me get rid of the caption below, this starts at number 1 down there, which is this picture right here, and this is coming off of, well, I'm sorry, this is number 1 up here. Yeah. This is coming, I'm basically at the end of 434. All pictures were taken while traveling north. And you can see the road is, it does mean that specification. It does here too, it does here, does here. When you get up around lot 8, it starts to get narrower. Come on. The farther north you go, I left my truck parked in the middle of the road so that you could see just how bad it was. And as you get up to lots, I could go all the way up the road, but all the pictures, all the ones in between 8 and 20 up here look pretty much the same. Here's the next group. Here's the next group. And here's the next group. Now, evidently, the landowners that are in the upper road district either don't know that information or don't care. We care. We don't want to pay for that. When the covenants and the road maintenance agreement were filed with the Register of Deeds, the road didn't exist up there. And there's absolutely nothing filed with the Register of Deeds that would indicate that lots 1 through 7 in any way needed to participate in paying for a road beyond what was already there. Another issue just that I want to tell you so that you understand why lot 7 isn't part of what we're doing. Lot 7 originally was, but they wanted out, and we didn't think it was our place to force them to be part of our road district, unlike what the upper road district is trying to do to us. Because we were interested in knowing exactly what it was going to take to do that road, I had Slowey Construction, who I'm sure you're familiar with, who builds roads, come out and evaluate our road. What they said was that the bottom half mile, basically, needed very little work. That would be the portion of the road that goes from lot 1 through lot 7. And the upper portion needs extensive work. To simply gravel it and try to fix some of what is there is $25,000 to $30,000. The Hubers maintain that it can be done for $15,000 every year. The maintenance portion of it, according to Pat Slowey, maintaining the road once it has been fixed for $15,000 a year is probably pretty close to being accurate. But it's going to cost somewhere between $25,000 to $30,000 just to gravel what's there. But to do it right, it needs culverts, it has to be recrowned, it has to be redrained, and that's $100,000 to $120,000. I don't believe the residents up there know that that's what it's going to cost. Maybe they do, and maybe they don't care. But we do care. We have done everything that we need to do, or that we possibly can do, to get our road district approved. And I'm asking that you approve road district 1 to 6 at this point. All they have to do to get their road district is take 1 to 6 out of theirs. They can refile, and we can both go on with our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
by the commission?
I have a question, and this is, excuse me, more of a Rob Clemish question. If the Sundance Ridge Development LLC was inactive at the time that the petition was filed, isn't that voided out? And then doesn't the 1 through 6 then step up?
The question, one of the question would be to your decision is to determine whether the hoops have been jumped, right? So what I'm saying is this: is there a verified petition, or is there an accurate survey and map of the territory intended to be embraced? And then you go through the filing of the petition, and the petition needs to have a deposit as determined by the auditor covering the costs of what's occurring. And then you go through, is there a proposed name? Is there need for road work? Is there a description of the territory? And then is there a definition of the boundaries? And that goes in front of you. And then if it's decided, then the answer is you shall
I get
put it in
that.
front of a vote.
I get
But
that.
the answer is if it's not, if the petition is not valid, then it's not a valid petition in front of you. So if it's an entity that's not valid, then it's not a valid petition.
Okay,
So they
That
need to
was-
be in compliance. So really the answer to the question is what type of work you need to do, all that stuff. That's not something for you to decide. The answer is, are they in compliance with the statute? And if they are in compliance, then you must approve, and it goes to a vote, and then that's the argument for everybody there to determine whether they want a road district or not. And then we follow the road district mill levy issues, secondary road, and then how we can raise the numbers and stuff like that, after there's a vote. Does that make sense? After a vote, if they approve a road district, and then you follow the rules.
I get that. My question is, if the petition isn't valid, is the petition not valid because Sundance Development LLC wasn't an active LLC at the time that it was filed? It would seem to me that it was not.
Was it administratively dissolved? Is it currently dissolved?
No, it's been reinstated, but it was dissolved according to the Secretary of State information in September of 2021. Then the petition was filed, and then it was reinstated according to his information, July of 2023.
And I believe if it's reinstated, the the entity goes back, and it's whatever occurred in that time is still valid. So to the answer to the question, if it has been reinstated, then in my opinion, everything that occurred prior then has been reinstated, and any work that's been done would be validated.
It appears to have been reinstated.
And it does go back to the time. So that alone would invalidate the petition.
Okay. That was my question.
Sorry. That's
Could
the
have made
answer.
it shorter.
Sorry, that's the answer.
Not everybody thinks like we do.
Okay, I'll go back to.
So, Don, and probably say it a little more, so if both petitions are valid, right? If you say both petitions are valid and they both did it correctly, so does the definition of number one being the Huber one, which includes all of it, is there, when you look the definition of defining the territory, right, a description of the territory proposed to be organized, does that create a problem because you have another competing road district within the original first filed road district? So does that make sense? So under that theory, that would invalidate the first road district because they're presenting it in front of you at the same time. The problem I have with that then is anytime that a road district is gonna be formed and I'm running to you, right, and getting it signed, and if I wanna stop you under that theory, then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna try to do a road district within your road district, and now I just shut you down. So the more proper way, in my opinion, would be the first one to file with the auditor would be the first one we would consider and see if it follows the rules and if it follows the rules. My opinion, under 3112A6 is, it says if the county commissioners are satisfied that the requirements of this chapter have been complied with, it shall issue an order, setting up the vote and going through the vote. So I don't think you have a choice. We've had this issue in the past on whether you have the option to say no. Is it discretionary? And it is not discretionary. If the requirements are met, you must approve. It goes to a vote, and then the property owners vote. They could vote it down because they could listen to issues regarding not wanting to deal with the road district.
Or the cost.
Or the cost, and that's up to them. But in my opinion, you have to do it if the requirements are met. Right? The question is, are they met? Because
So you're saying Mr. Curry made a mistake telling Mr. Huber that he had been dissolved?
no, because it sounds like
Well,
he
yeah,
was
because
dissolved.
then it reaffirmed everything that happened in between.
Yep, that's what the law says.
Mhm.
It does go back if you're reinstated. Sorry, does that make sense? Sorry about that.
So what you're saying is that assuming that all the boxes have been checked, we have to approve it, and then they get to vote based on all of the information they have, which includes $170,000 worth of expense, basically.
Rob, who determines if all the boxes have been checked?
We do.
You do. The
So-
commission does.
Okay.
I have a question on the boundaries. So I was just looking at this and it's like, so through those first 7 lots, we have a right-of-way established on the plats for this road. But then continuing on from there, it looks like we don't have any right-of-ways established on this road. Does that cause an issue with the defined boundaries of this? Because the road is could be moved.
I think the defined boundaries are the road district.
Okay.
Not the location of any public access, any roadway through it. So it's how we defined it.
So, Mr. Chair, we probably have more public comment. Maybe we should get through that.
Well,
Or,
the reason for asking for. Pardon? The reason for the clarification was that I'm sure that there's, most of the people in here would like to address the issue, but there's no point in going
Sure.
over
Just wanted
the same issues
referencing.
by everybody,
It's
so
on
I
page
wanted a
154.
clarification from Rob too.
yeah, no, it was a good
So-
insight. I agree.
Does anybody else want to have public comment? You did, all 3 of you did a very good job, thank you. Does anybody else want to?
3112A4, or 3, I'm sorry.
Pardon? I can't hear you, ma'am.
Is there a need to?
If you want to.
It's a hearing.
It's not public
It's open.
comment.
It's not a hearing.
It's not.
It's just discussion.
So you can, yes.
Thank you.
My name is Lisa Huber. I live at 31083 Sundance Ridge. I am Todd's wife. Todd and I are Sundance Ridge LLC. We did present at the last county commission meeting. Since then, we have had 2 in-person meetings with members of the Sundance Ridge Road District as requested by lots 1 through 6. At one meeting, 2 lots were represented. At the other meeting, 1 lot was represented in person and another by letter. It was determined that the majority of Sundance development supports a single road district supported through a mill levy based on assessed value. One of the concerns brought up at the county commission meeting that we presented at in the past was that lots 1 through 6 felt they didn't have a voice. We had offered to have the board consist of 3 members with 1 representative from each, from the north, the middle section, and the south parts of the road, so all areas are equally represented. The board members would have input from any member at the meeting regarding areas to maintain on the roadway. We felt that this would give each member of Sundance Ridge input in regards to how the money was collected through the mill levy. So we were trying to identify a way for them to have a voice. Concerns, if we go through 2 road districts, I also have a concern regarding the establishment of funding for the South Road District, because if they don't agree, my concern is that there may not be a formal decision made and they wouldn't have funding to support that road at all. Another concern would be that it may increase tension. It's stated now that they would not mind having people from other districts or from the other road district drive through their road, which is my main access to town, to work, to the mailbox. What my concern is, if there's a change in ownership, is that I don't see that as being a successful agreement. A third concern is regarding the mailbox. The mailbox is currently located at the south end of the road. So if they do have a South Sundance Road District, who would have financial responsibility if that's damaged by a snowplow or vehicle, and who would have financial responsibility if that mailbox needed work or needed to be moved? If it was split into 2 districts, I'm also concerned that they maintain the road adequately for my daily commute. And if the county approves 2 road districts, what recourse would I have if they do not step up to the plate? How can I address that? I feel, in all fairness to the residents of Sundance Ridge Road District, we should stay together to make the roadway one. We all have the same interests. We want to have an adequate road to be able to get to work, to get to what we need to do. We had offered at the last meeting to have a vote, but this was rejected by lots 1 through 6 because they didn't feel that they had the majority. At that time, we had agreed that we would abide by a neutral opinion, which was determined to be that of the County Commission. So, thank you. One other thing, just so you're aware, Rick, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Lisa. On the last email chain before the previous county commission meeting, we did have on there that we were...
But I was talking about the one before you filed.
No, it was on the one before we filed, so I can show you that later if you choose.
Come up, please.
Hello, my name's Jim Schmitz, and I'm in the Lot 3 down on the south end. You told us to get together and try to work this out. So here's what we've been putting up with. I called Todd and Lisa Hubert. Can we come and talk to you? I live an hour and a half away. So they said, yeah, come on over. So I said, Bob has a few questions too. Can he come? Well, no, we don't want to talk to Bob. So my wife asked him again, can me and my wife come over? And he said no. And then we're supposed to be working together. So the last meeting we had, you tried to get us together. So Bob he was sick, so he couldn't make it. So me and my wife went. I get to the meeting, and it's just lie after lie after lie. I've been in a lot of LLCs and S-corps, and I do not want to work with people like this. I get there, and they keep knocking me on the shoulder. What do you want out of this? What do you want out of this? I told you from the beginning, I just want to have it fair. But here, they keep knocking on my shoulder. Well, what do you want, a voice? I bet they asked me 6 times, you want a voice? Shouldn't I have a voice? So if we don't even have a voice before we're put together, how are we ever going to get along? And then it was just me and my wife against 4 of the people on the north end, and they wanted to take a vote. So they took a vote, and I don't even know what we were voting for. And I'm thinking, how can we take a vote? They're not even, I can't take a vote for the other people in my party. I got to ask them what their opinion is. And then they said, majority rules.
I understand the difficulties that you have getting together. Rob defined what we need to do in the process.
Okay. But what I like to know, okay, so this LLC for a while wasn't there.
That's a
I'm worried
court
I'm
decision.
worried about my liability. If somebody would crash on that road, who's responsible? Commissioners? Who owns that road? I don't wanna lose my whole farm because somebody slips on that road and gets killed. Who are they coming after? Does the Huberts own the road? Will you tell me who owns the road?
Rob?
I don't know who has the road, I haven't looked at it, I don't know.
Yeah, but then who has liability? Nobody?
Sir, do you mean currently or after the road district?
Well, now, for the last 2 years or 6 years I've been there. Who has insurance? Don't they have to have insurance? So if somebody gets killed, they can come after me?
Not looked at the road, I don't know.
So who do you find that out through?
Lawyer.
It's been filed.
So you gotta go to a lawyer to find out who has liability.
Go to the register of deeds and see how it's filed, I just don't know.
Well,
Ma'am, if you want
you have
if
to
you want to
step
speak,
up.
you have to step up.
My name is Elaine Schmitz, and I live in Lot 3. And I did go to the Register of Deeds. I go, who owns this land? Because it's not us. It's not as though the property line goes through the middle of the road. And I have never heard of this in my life. But she said, no one owns a road. And I said, no one owns a road? I've never, ever heard of that, ever. And until a road district gets formed, they can get insurance on that road, but who has insurance on that road now? And it's been this way for 16 years. According to our maintenance agreement, the 5 landowners, after 5 lots were sold, there was supposed to be an HOA formed. It didn't get formed. We weren't one of the original owners, so I have no idea why. And if that would have been formed, we wouldn't even be here.
We wouldn't be here tonight.
And now you're asking, I know road maintenance agreements aren't, just like covenants, aren't acknowledged by the county, but somehow there just has to be something. We have no liability on our roads. We don't know any information. Who owns that road? Someone has to own it. It's a public access right-of-way road.
But you can tell us not to put a gate up, so then you gotta own it.
Then it's just
So
all,
we could put a gate up on the road?
there was one.
There was one.
Is it a dedicated public right-of-way, is that what it is?
It is.
Yep, the first 7 is. I don't know if anything
Dedicated
beyond that.
public right of way.
all of it or just the first?
Just up to the, up to the lot 7, yep.
And to me, that's definite proof that there were definitely 2 developments with 2 separate road maintenance
Because
agreements.
they used to have a gate and it was locked. You couldn't even get back there. So how can?
So,
I
yeah,
guess it's all
I mean, I
locked.
know that you have to follow, I mean, just whatever the state statute says, it says, and we can't do a lot about it, but somehow there needs to be some common sense in this.
Because it don't make sense to me that Bob be nice and tells them that their LLC is not there anymore.
And you
And then
understand,
he's being a nice guy, and if he would have been quiet and not said anything,
and all their
this would have
paper,
passed. So being a nice guy doesn't pay.
and
What
all
you're
their
telling me.
paperwork
No
is,
good turn goes unpunished.
yeah.
Yeah.
All their paperwork is written in Sundance Ridge Development LLC. The actual name of their LLC is Sundance Development LLC. There is no ridge in it. So this is how sloppy this whole development was put together. And it's like we're getting the punishment for it. And I feel uncomfortable with that. So.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have one thing.
1 second. Yeah. Come on up.
Okay, I'll wait till you're done.
My my question is, and to Rob, if they are, in fact, two separate developments,
Speak into the mic.
if they are, in fact, two separate developments by two legally separate developers, is that not them trying to annex lots 1 through 6? Isn't that kind of like us putting a road district together and saying, well, we're going to have Bay Cliff pay for ours too? Because they're separate developments. They're not the same.
Okay.
These are not
These
phases.
are legal issues that would have to be decided by a court. I don't think I would recommend to any of us that we make a decision based on that.
And then the answer is there could be some questions on whether the petition was,
They get-
is accurately.
they gotta
Well,
get those
I haven't looked at
resolved.
the petition to tell you, I'm telling you what the
So-
commission needs to determine.
So
are
you're
they in
saying
compliance?
table it?
I would say table it and have somebody look through the petition and verify the information. Because the applicant needs to be coming from, as an owner in the development. They have to be a developed owner. So if that's a question, I don't know if that means anything, but the answer is they would have to be, if there's an issue that it's not done correctly, then the petition isn't valid. I'm agreeing.
And there'll be a lawsuit then, so.
Well, if it's invalid, then,
Then it's not in front of the commission properly, and you can
Yeah.
deny it, and then you're on to number 2, and seeing whether that one's been accurately put forth and in compliance with the statute.
so who does that?
Probably my office.
And when do you do that?
Before the next hearing, before the next county commission meeting. So then I will look at it for the next meeting. I will look at both petitions and see if one or both are in compliance. And I would believe if one is in compliance, my position would be then it's 1. If one's not in compliance, then we go to number 2. And if 2's in compliance, we accept number 2. And if 2's not in compliance, we don't accept 1 or 2. And make sure it's in compliance with the statute. Because again, I believe the only issue before you today is are they in compliance with the statute when they come in front of you?
And we don't know.
I don't know, right?
So I move to table it till the next meeting in August, which would be
August
August
15th.
15th.
what?
August 15th.
August 15. Is there a second?
You have a motion, do I have a second? Just give me a second, I have a motion on the floor first, do I have a second?
I'd like to hear what he has. We let him speak, so
We can
we
do
should
that
let
in
somebody else.
discussion, I don't care. Let him
Who,
speak.
who wanted to?
We don't
speak?
have a second, so unless you're
Yeah,
gonna second.
I mean, it's fair. If you make it
We'll let it
quick,
die.
a couple minutes. Okay.
I'm Todd Huber again. On the petition, it says nothing about that it has to be the developer or the landowner or anything like that. It doesn't require that it's an LLC or Todd Huber. It could be anybody that lives in the development could file this petition.
It says any person making an application.
The statute,
Says owner.
SDCL 31-12A-3.
My understanding is the county doesn't care if there's 1 developer, 2 developers, or 10 developers on that road. As long as you have a road and the majority of the people that live on that road want a road district, then you can assign a road district.
And Todd, the question is the petition before the commission
Valid.
valid?
Okay.
That's the question, and I'll have time to look at it before the next meeting.
Okay.
So I apologize, but we probably better look it over, because we have issues with 2 of you before the commission.
All right. Thank you.
I'd entertain a
I
motion.
renew my motion to table this until August 15, 2023, to allow the state's attorney's office to make a determination whether one or both or neither of the petitions that were filed for a road district are valid.
I'll second.
Have a motion
What
and a
was that
second.
noise?
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed the same, motion carries. Thank you. I hope you can come to a resolution. It's too small of a world not to be able to get along.
Next item on the agenda is item number 7, Mr. Lane.
Jim Lane, Yankton. Hopefully this will go a little easier for you guys. You know, this resolution is really straightforward. All we're asking for is with the upcoming construction, a recognition that people will use those bridges to access the river, and any steps that the state can take to make that safe. And, you know, it may not actually be part of the bridge construction, but I think the South Dakota Game Fish and Parks kind of has an obligation, especially if you use the example of Kelly's Cove there. They already have 10 acres there that could be very attractive and keep people off the bridge. So if you got any questions, I'd be happy to go into it, but I think everybody kind of understands what we're after. I would say this, approaching you guys is just the first step in this process. I've talked to a lot of people. The South Dakota Wildlife Federation is very interested in this. And it will go beyond Yankton County, but this could be a good first step. You know, it's just something that they should look at in the future if there's an access component that can be added to projects like this. And if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy. No?
So I'd make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second that.
Motion by Dan, second by John, to approve the resolution. Discussion?
Well, I'm looking at this, it's like, so we're talking about having public access areas. What kind of liability does that create if we create these as a county? And then,
And right, my understanding of this is considering it, right? Is it
Just considering it?
That's
Exactly.
my
Okay.
understanding. So the answer could be, you might deny it and not want other access points, because there could be a liability, there could be some other issues.
okay.
But
And I think the only other thing is, like, you know, a lot of those areas are also, yeah, there's a lot of private landowners along the way, and I think they need to be a part of the discussion as well.
Yep.
When we have these things, so.
And I think what Jim said is there was actually public access points that would alleviate people from going on private property. And
who's building them?
who's building? This is just consider
Yeah,
it.
all
yeah.
we're really trying to do is to
Show
bring
interest?
it to attention. Yeah, a public
Show our
statement of
support to
interest.
Yes.
Show our support. to it.
Because right now, nobody's looking in this direction.
Okay.
And it really kind of makes sense if you want to think about it. South Dakota Game Fish and Parks got several thousand acres of land about 20 years ago from the Corps of Engineers, and they've done a great job building out all these parks, visitor centers. They've built the outdoor campuses at Sioux Falls and at Rapid City. They've done a lot of building and in Custer State Park, but with all that development, they've kind of neglected these smaller venues like the Jim River. And hopefully now they could take advantage of these circumstances with like bridge construction. And it may not be part of the bridge projects, but they could coordinate their efforts. We're not being specific about it. It's by location. Really smart engineers at the Department of Transportation and the Game Fish and Parks will decide best how to approach it. But right now, they're not approaching it.
And I don't think we're talking of building a park or anything like that. It's a pull-off area beside the bridge so people can park their vehicle instead of on the road, park it on the access area.
I
And
think-
maybe walk down to the river and
Right.
throw a
I
rod
think
in.
you've all traveled up Highway 81, and that'd be a really good example. They've got a little strip down there. The approach is far enough away from the bridge that there's a good clear zone and good sight distance. It allows people to park, there's a boat launch, and they can walk down if they want to fish under the bridge or something.
And
you know,
you're proposing that the Game Fish and Parks do that building?
I think they have an obligation to.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
but-
know if
but-
they do or don't. I'm just asking
Yeah,
on behalf of the county.
We're
Who's paying
requesting-
for it?
Right, right. What we're requesting is they take a look at it, because people will use these bridges for access, whether there's good access or not. Right now, it's a pretty dangerous situation. If you go out there, especially like Johnson Bridge, there's no shoulder at all, and there'll be people parked there at night to fish below the bridge. Yeah, but that's, it really, in my mind, it shouldn't be at any cost to the county. It's just a factor they should consider during construction.
In the resolution, they have 6 whereases and then therefore. And it's therefore we, the county commissioners of Yankton County, encourage local, state, and federal agencies to work together and consider the development of more public access points, which may include spaces for a pull-off parking, fishing spots, and/or boat ramps when appropriate, as plans are developed for a new construction along the James River.
The only thing I'd add to that is I wouldn't limit, we're not limiting it to just these bridges. You've got, like, for example, there's gonna be a road reconstruction up there south of the Stone Church Bridge. That might be another point of access. It doesn't have to be a major highway.
Well, we got a motion and a second. I say we vote.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion?
That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
Okay, no more. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Work hard, I hope it happens. The next item on the agenda is item number 9, updates from the center.
We're cutting into your vacation time, aren't we? I know.
Hello, my name is Chris Thury. I'm the executive director at the center. I didn't know I'd have such a big crowd tonight. If you guys want to be members, I can hook you up. I came to give you some updates on the center today. I missed it last year due to some other issues, but we just had a great fundraiser. 2 weeks ago now, we had our 70s gala, and it was so much fun. We raised almost $35,000 for our Meals on Wheels program and our center operations. So we've been doing great with that. Our Rockathon, I'm sure many of you have heard about as well. That raised almost $50,000 last year. So financially, we do well. Step back a bit. Geez, step forward, step back. Okay. So yeah, we've done well financially, but I'm here mainly to thank the county for the monetary support they provide to us along with the city, because we do have our downfalls as well. One of them is we just lost our Jodine's and today our Hy-Vee meal programs, because Hy-Vee is switching to Wahlburgers now. So our seniors can't go to those places and get meals for $4.25 now. Because of that. So we have to think of ways to make up for those meals, which amount to roughly 10,000 meals a year. So it's a significant amount of financial money that we're losing out on as well. But we have some ideas in place, and we're even thinking of maybe starting to serve breakfast at the center for those Hy-Vee diners. We have things that are in the works. So I'm not too worried about it, and with Jodine's reopening under new ownership, it might be a possibility to have that back. However, our biggest challenge was losing our Department of Corrections inmates. As you know, I think they eliminated the whole community work service program, so we did have to hire one staff member to replace 2 people, and so we're not necessarily struggling with the manpower, but the muscle power, because those guys did a lot of the heavy lifting around there, and it's tough. Even our staff is not 20 and 30-year-old people. They're older people, and it's tough. So that's our biggest challenge we've had to deal with this last couple of months, but we've done it. We've taken care of it. We have a very dedicated staff though, and that's what makes our organization continue to flourish. We just actually topped the 800 mark for membership. It's 805 members now. It was stagnant at 750 for several years. So we're on a path to staying fluid as well. And I just wanted to come today and thank you again for the support that the county gives the center. With the city revenue sharing, we appreciate it, and we definitely wouldn't be able to do it without your help. So if you have any questions for me?
No, I have the opportunity to serve on the board as the county liaison, and the amount of work and your dedication to our seniors is just amazing. You do a great job.
Thank
so.
you. It's one of the very few places you can go to work every day and make a difference.
Yep.
And it's also the best, worst paying job ever. Said that for 10 years, but it is. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much, Chris. Next item on the agenda is solar farm discussion. You want to lead this off?
I didn't put, who put it on?
Well, when I had put this on, originally it was supposed to be for a temporary zoning to limit solar farm developments beyond 50 kilowatts. That's what we determined on the task force that should happen. That's basically because there is no bounds to what you can apply for right now, and there's no checks or balances on anything. It's wide open. In fact, actually, this weekend I was working around on these, how these things would be put together, and I was like, well, let's go see what happens when you go apply for a permit. Within a few hours on yesterday morning, and all that's waiting is a check, and I have a 60-acre solar farm for the lake area. No one has a say in it, and that's kind of a scary thing. So I think really the commission, or the planning commission or planning board, had said we need to have these temporary ordinances in place. We've pushed it down. We made the task force. The task force also came out across the same determination. And here we are tonight with yet another push down the road. So I think pretty shortly, I think August 15th, we need to get this thing going.
Did you say you applied for a solar farm
And got one.
license?
Yeah, actually, I was just going through the motions, and the last button, by the way, Gary, the last button just says next. Probably should say submit, because I didn't know I was submitting.
So you did or you didn't?
What?
I mean, you did
He did.
apply
I
for
did,
one?
incidentally, I did. I was just going through
mean,
and seeing what the form would look like for a solar farm.
How is that?
And it's not even fully filled.
If he's applied for a permit for that, isn't that a contract?
It's not a valid permit because I haven't paid for it. I have
It's
no
a-
intention, it's
for
not
an
even a valid
example.
permit. It's
Well,
just,
but
And I did give
Yeah.
Ryan a call and
Mhm.
discuss that could be a conflict, if that's what he was doing at this time, then he could be in the discussions because of that occurring.
Okay.
And he informed me that what he just informed you, that he didn't make the application intentional, and that wasn't something he was following through.
Sure,
Because you're saying
okay.
it exactly right.
Mhm.
Okay.
He wouldn't be allowed to be in the discussions or make a vote, because he'd have an interest in the outcome
yeah.
as a
Okay.
commissioner.
This is, by the way, this is not a valid permit because it has not been paid for.
Sure, okay.
So
I'm glad you
this is-
clarified
yeah.
that, so thank you.
It's very clear, this is not a valid permit. The only thing short of me is paying for it. And actually, in all actuality, it's like, on this permit, it was really quickly put together. I was just going through it and accidentally hit the next button and went to submit. And the actual price on this solar farm is short about 50%. It's actually should cost an extra 10 million than what it said. And there's nothing in there to check on that. That would cut $30,000 out of our permit fee that the county would receive for the solar farm. So it just really kind of highlights how open and exposed we are.
So the next step of the task force will be to,
Next step on the task force, we are meeting on Thursday at 3, and we are actually going to dive into, we've already kind of gone over the terms and definitions on the first meeting. Next one is going to be going over location placements, restrictions, setbacks, those type of deals for them. We then have 2 more meetings after that are going to be focused on the environmental concerns, decommissioning, and so forth. And then hopefully by then we have a complete outline to send to the planning board in September. That would be an outline for them to then make the draft ordinance. And hopefully they can have that presented to us in November. But I think we should have a temporary ordinance because this process could take us up to about February, March, by the time we actually have a permanent ordinance in place. And we should have a temporary in place, just simply because everyone knows that we're doing this, and right now we're just wide open.
Any questions?
Just as a member of the task force, I agree 100% with what Ryan said. So we're on cue or on course to complete the process sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary, do you have anything to add about it?
Just basically, if we're talking about putting on the agenda as a hearing for the 15th, we would have to get the notices out tomorrow morning, basically. So.
We don't have anything in front of us that we're gonna approve, though. I mean.
We would have, that would be the first reading, would be on
What, are you
August
talking
15th.
about temporary zoning controls?
A
It
temporary
only
zoning
takes
control.
one hearing, but we'd have to decide tonight too, what are we actually submitting? Are we submitting what's been sent to the planning commission to date, if we're using that?
What the
Or
task-
what we're using as a.
What the task force wanted was a requirement for a CUP for any solar energy system, and put the definition of the solar energy system in.
So just those
definition
two
of solar
items.
energy system, and a requirement for a CUP for anything greater than 50 kilowatts.
If that's the direction, we can certainly do that.
And that at least prevents any solar farm from being built without it being brought up to the planning board and
Yeah,
us.
that's what we agreed on at the task force meeting, to at least put a little, a road bump in there
Yeah,
temporarily for now.
I guess I'm fine with that.
I'll get that prepared in the morning and we'll go from there. Thanks.
All right.
Any other discussion? The next item on the agenda is the 294th Street discussion. Mike?
Well, I guess our 5-year plan meeting is coming up shortly, and it's brought up to my attention that possibly 294th Street, if we would do it next year, take it off completely, or hold off until 2025 when 46 is totally done.
Is that the street or road that was, I don't know what the correct word is, undone?
Milled up back
And
in
then
2020.
we promised not we as the county commission before all of us here.
No, it was you, Wanda.
Don't start with me. That we would put it back.
Correct.
So now we're saying we're not gonna put it back?
That's
putting
not
up
what
for
we're
discussion.
When was that ground, Mike?
2020.
So 5 years or 3 years ago.
And now with 46 being delayed, you know, next year, I don't think we should do it next year. We should
So
do it
you're saying do it in 25?
25 at the soonest.
And if we do it now, it just gets messed up again.
It'll get thrashed on 291st Street to Viberg Road. Yeah, it's taking a beating right now.
What's the cost on that road, Mike? Because I know the old cost was, 576,000, but we know that it's more than that now.
Now, to do the 12 miles, full 12 miles with a double chip, some asphalt, off of, we'd want to pave off of 81, 150 foot, off of 444, 448, 452. We'd want to pave off all the major intersections for the stopping and going traffic. Anyways, and it would have to get remilled again, base stabilization chemical injected. Would probably be in around the 960, 980,000 range for the full 12 miles.
So almost double.
And that's using this year's chip seal numbers. I don't know what they'll be next year. This year's numbers are 24,000 for a single chip, so it'd be 48,000 a mile on a double. What's it gonna be next year? 26, 28? I don't know. Maybe it'll be the same. And if we do, I guess I don't have it in the 5-year plan, but I would switch it up. We could shuffle it and do the full 6 miles of 448 north of 46 for next year. With asphalt, that is, overlaid. Or we could do 3 miles of it and then the following year do the other 3 miles.
And we kind of discussed, like you said, that the cost of redoing that is doubled since the time when it was done. Not that cost is an issue. There is 3 miles on either side of that road. There is paved roads going east-west.
Yep, you got, 3 miles south, you have 46. 3 miles north, you got the Viberg Road.
Right.
But as of right now, I don't recommend doing it next year like the 5-year plan says. Due to the fact of Highway 46.
Any other questions of Mike?
No, I guess just for the public, this is the consequences of the restrictions I believe that the state has put on the counties and limiting our ability to collect taxes. And why when somebody out in the lake area buys $100 worth of fireworks or $100 worth of beer, we can't get 50 cents sales tax revenue to put to our roads is beyond me. But every year a dozen bills go out to help county funding and they all get voted down. And I think the sad thing is this is probably the beginning of it. It's not the end. Unless counties can find ways to fund infrastructure, things like this are gonna keep happening. And we're in better shape than the vast majority of the counties in South Dakota. I'm looking through some reports from the state, and fogging oil has increased 172%, asphalt mix 87%, aggregate 92%, and county tax rates go up 3% or CPI, whichever is less. So that's all I have.
So as of right now, are you guiding me to put that on?
I'm sorry, what?
As of right now, are you guys in agreement to put that on 2025 then?
Do you want us to wait till the 5-year plan and do that, or what?
Well, I need to make that first. I didn't want to,
I think we're in agreement to move that
Yeah,
to
I don't
at
think we
least to
have
the
a
25.
choice.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in the dust.
Every day, every stinking day that wind comes out of the south, I'm frickin' covered. It isn't just local traffic going down that frickin' road. It's everybody. You talk about how it'll be ruined in 46. 46 is already screwed. They're coming to my road.
Sir?
They're coming to my road. No, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna, sir, if you wanna speak, please come up to the microphone. State your name.
My name is Rick Goodrich. I live on 294th Street. We've been under that shit, excuse me. I've been under this dust forever. The wind comes out south every day during the summer. I am buried. I go out to try to mow my lawn, and I got frickin' trucks and cars hauling ass. You came and seen my place. What speed limit did you go?
I'm sure I was going 55 miles
Yes,
an hour
sir.
on that road.
Speed limit on that road is 40. Nobody does 40. They're not just coming off in 446 dirt road and hauling ass past my place. They're starting from either 444 or 448. And they're rocking. And you can see the line of dust, and I'm standing there going, oh shit, here we go again. This has been going on forever. Do something. You tell me, oh, you can pay to have your road wet down. I can't afford it. I'm on a fixed income. You guys made the mess. You three were here. I don't know about him. I don't know about him. You guys made the mess. You want us to suck it up more. I can't afford the I can't move.
Do you have anything else to say?
Do something.
Thank you.
Rich, would it help to?
Thank you.
Would it help to put a speed limit reduction on? Could we put a speed limit reduction on that? Would that help? You don't think it would help anything? Sure.
I live on Rodney Sutton. I live on 444 across from John's property, actually. So he knows where I live. And we use that. We don't any more of that. It's gravel because it is really a sucky road to drive on when it's all chewed up. But my boys work in North Dakota in new oil fields. Semis have a speed limit of 25 miles an hour on gravel roads, just because they're keeping the dust down for the residents along those roads. So it is possible to put a 25-mile speed limit on those roads, and it does make a difference, because my sons drive semi in the oil fields, and they say it takes longer, but they've met trucks going the other way, and they're going way over the 25, and people are out mowing the grass or that, they get covered with dust because somebody couldn't obey the speed limit. So I mean, it's not gonna fix the problem, but yes, a 25-mile speed limit would be.
Reduced speed limit would help you.
Would help.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't live on the road. I mean, just used to use it a lot when it was oil.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up, sir.
Kelly Kneifel, live on 434, or 31074, 434th Avenue, corner of Kaiser Road and 434. So I'm taking a little different tact here than some of what you heard tonight. So I was here about a month and a half ago when Mike Welsh, I think, was put together a committee basically to do some studying for the needs of the county and some of the challenges that are going on. As you know, because we've been here before and several of the people in this room have been here before, we've talked about Kaiser Road. And we've talked about 434 North going off the corner of Kaiser Road for a lot of the similar issues I think some of the folks here are compassionate about tonight with the dust and the challenges we have. We have a very large number of residents out there in the lake area that struggle with a lot of the same things. So we did go down the path in a prior discussion several months ago about putting a speed limit sign on, and that was done. It's hard to know what the impact of that was. I don't know how well it's been patrolled and how well it's maintained, or how what kind of impact that has had. This summer's been certainly dry at times and wet at others, but mostly dry. So we still fight a lot of the dust, and I know the east end of the road is still putting the mag chloride on and having some success with that. With those of us on the west end of the road, it didn't quite make it that far this last go around. But I would like to know, and I guess my reason for wanting to come tonight and talk was, number one, to understand what the driving force is for 294, whatever the road is, that's on the agenda, kind of how it got on the 5-year plan, and what the prioritization process is for the county commission to get things like that, like our road, on that plan. And as Mike Welsh, the guy we should be reaching out and talking to help kind of get that done, because I understand that 5-year plan and that process is kind of an annual process to be updated. I've heard it mentioned a couple times tonight. So I'd certainly like to know, our group would like to know more about how to appropriately accomplish that.
Michael, do you want to comment on that?
Well, the reason 294th Street is on the 5-year plan is because it was originally an asphalt road that got milled up in 2020 due to the condition of the road. It was
dangerous.
Pothole after pothole after blowout after blowout. That's how it got on the 5-year plan. West 11th got put on the 5-year plan, but that was, for this year. But that was a totally different deal.
Why don't you explain West 11th and what happened?
West 11th, I think, what was there? Did it have to be, Joe, was it 90%? 90% of the people had to sign a petition saying that they were going to allow that cost to be assessed to their taxes.
Now 100% of the houses signed up for it.
What's that?
100% of the houses signed up for it.
West 11, yeah, 100% signed up for it.
I want to tell you, somebody from Kaiser Road called me and said, when can I get my road fixed? And I explained him the process that we went through. And he said, oh hell, I couldn't get half of the people to sign up for it.
But that's how that was accomplished on West 11th. They had their own committee that went out door to door. Then there was also meetings, but probably 2 or 3 public meetings here done.
Yeah.
So
I guess to finish the comment there, my goal anyway is to understand how to progress forward, and what the right steps are, and whether we should be talking with Mr. I believe his last name is Welsh, whether we should be reaching out to him to kind of get some of that attention, or whether we should be working with you guys, or whether we should be working with Mike, or what the appropriate process is to carry that forward. We recognize there's competing interests, we recognize there's a shortfall of revenue, and that in some of these cases, in order to get things done, we may have to pay for them ourselves. And I don't know who made the comment on, but I can, the may or may not be accurate. Don't know that. We've had a couple of meetings out in the lake area with the residents there, and I'm looking for a direction to kind of take back to those meetings so that we can keep moving the ball forward. Right now, the ball's kind of stuck, and we want to keep moving forward.
One of your challenges is that you got, 15 houses 100 yards from the highway, or not much, and to get 100% of the people signed up, they'd have to be willing to share the expenses on the entire road.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've talked about is, getting some road studies, some traffic studies done on that area during the busy season, so that we can understand what those real traffic counts are. The traffic counts that were done, studies that were done previously, were during the off season, and there's a lot of traffic that goes down that road besides just the residents.
Mike,
And
are we doing traffic counts this summer? today. They
Oh,
got put
good,
up.
excellent,
Okay. All right, thank you for.
excellent. Good to hear.
So we'll get that, how long is that gonna last, 30 days, 60 days, how
A week,
long?
and then he's gonna take them, they gotta go somewhere else, and then they'll come back and put them up again.
Okay.
So I guess the question I have is, you know, is there a person or place or whatever we can go to kind of keep the ball moving, and at least can guide us through the process here so that we can keep the ball moving?
I think in my mind, it'd be nice if you could get one or two representatives from your area to kind of football and kind of take charge, and then discuss with Mike what your thoughts and plans are, and we can kind of collaborate between Mike, you, or whoever you choose as your leader or liaison, and we're open to discussion.
Okay.
How West 11th was done, there was actually a couple people there that went door to door and had everybody sign up that wanted to sign up, is how that
Yeah.
worked.
Was really a testament to what you can accomplish
neighborhood
by
can do.
working together as a team. It came together excellent.
I would suggest you guys form your own committee out there, a group of people that are gonna go see everybody.
And look, we can do that.
We-
I want
we-
some guidance here.
We took quite a bit of time on West City Limits Road to feel like we were doing something that was fair to what the people wanted and fair to the taxpayer. And
So you're looking at
the
that West
blue-
11th Road is a good example
the
of.
blueprint is out there for
blueprint.
what we approved.
Okay, okay.
Kelly, I would and John would be willing to meet with you too sometime and
Okay.
talk with you. Just let us know, and Mike, and so.
I'll reach out to the rest of the group and we'll continue the communication and see what, if we got some volunteers that wanna be part of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Patty, if you can get them a copy of that resolution, all the ruling is in there.
okay, thank you. You good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't this discussion on 294th Street and not West 11th or Kaiser Road or?
I guess the reason I brought it up is it's competing for the same dollars, it's the same, we have the same exact issue you guys do.
Okay, let's get back to 294.
Okay, I'm Mark Westerman. I do live on Kaiser Road, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about it as the 5-year plan and just, I guess maybe a general comment about how that whole process works. Yes, we're talking about 294th, so I'm going to use that as an example. I make clear I'm not specifically speaking out against doing anything on 294th, but I am going to use it as an example. Me as a Yankton County resident, when I look at the map and look at 294th, the first thing I see is a 12-mile stretch of road that goes to a gravel road on one end, a US highway on the other, has a highway that goes to a town on the north, has a highway that goes, a state highway to the south that goes to other towns. I understand that it was paved. I don't know when it was paved, probably back in the 50s or 60s if I was gonna guess. And then it was milled up in 2020. I understand that in 2020, there was a statement made to the effect of redoing it when they could. I don't know how carved in stone that is. What I would encourage you as a commission to do is when you do these 5-year plans, does anybody know why? Would I be reasonably correct that that road was probably paved back in the 50s or 60s? Okay. So the county has changed. I know when we've talked to you about other roads, we've talked about traffic counts. I don't know what the traffic count is on 294th. Was a traffic count done either before or after it was milled up to see if it needs to be done? If we're telling other people to look at traffic counts, well then before we repave a road that we tore up, I think we should look at traffic counts. I don't think we should just take a paintbrush and go over, it was a paved road, we're going to repave it. I don't care if that's 294th or Southwest Jim River Road or any number of other roads that I see on the 5-year plan. As we did that 5-year plan, and maybe this is done, I don't know. But before those things were decided to re-mill, repave, re-chip seal, whatever, we're on a tight budget. Have those numbers been looked at? I know it's a tough decision. Nobody wants to be on a road and have it change and feel like they've had something taken away from them. But, I just think that it's very important to be very transparent about things like that. And, part of being a commissioner is sometimes you gotta make a tough decision. And I know you guys do that on different occasions, but appreciate all the efforts that you guys and guys like Mike put into these plans, and I don't want to sound like I'm the guy coming in at the tail end saying, hey, you know, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I'm not trying to say something was or wasn't done. Does that make sense what I'm saying about just making sure, and then like Kelly alluded to, you know, can we put some parameters on something, you know? If you could put parameters on, you know, it takes X amount of traffic count or X amount of tax base or anything to do something, you know, or at least how to prioritize or anything, you know, at least then you've got some parameters as to how things get priority.
You know some of the parameters that we get all the time?
Do it for nothing? And do it yesterday?
Is what the state and the federal government tells us we will do, no matter what, and that's what takes the majority of our budget.
Oh, I understand that you guys have at least one hand tied behind your back at any given point in time, and there's things you'd love to do and can't.
I was gonna ask Mike. Mike, step up to the microphone, please. In 2020, when you estimated the 5-year plan, what would it cost to double chip seal per mile, 294? Just a rough estimate.
36,000 roughly. I'd say we're probably in the 18,000 a mile range, so 36 for a double. You know, now we're talking this year is 48.
And Stone Church Bridge was $3 million and not $12 million too.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, it's gotten crazy with costs.
Get-
And I
get-
agree with him with, I can dig up some, past counts from when it was paid, and, I can talk with South Dakota LTAP, and we'll sometime, here in the near future, get traffic counters put up on 294.
When we discuss the 5-year plan, don't we put that in the newspaper?
Yep, and we have a public meeting just for the 5-year plan.
And
then
see
I
who
also have-
comes.
Yep. And then also, I gotta present it to the commission briefly, and you guys have to approve it before I send it to Pier.
How long has 294 been on the 5-year plan?
Since 2020.
In all reality, if it had not been for Highway 46 coming up, it would have been done in 2021.
2023.
Well, 46 was already in the,
Yes, but
in the plan, but it was supposed to be,
2020.
it was supposed to be done this year.
But if that was not in the picture at all.
Sir, just because the audience outside this room can't hear, would you please get up and,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. Thank you much.
Mike Swenson, Turkey Valley Township. It's been on the plan since 2020, and it's been my impression that if 46 had not been done, it would have been completed at whatever cost would have been in 2021 or 22. It's been on the 5-year plan for 3 years. I don't see how you could remove it. I think what these people are looking for is a commitment to it being done prior to 46 being completed, is what they're looking for.
And I guess what my discussion with Mike is, what we do could quickly be destroyed until 46 is done.
I agree, but I think this, why you have such a crowd here, is they want a commitment from you, and I know board members change, costs go up, I'll guarantee you that.
As I didn't in 2020, I will not today guarantee anybody anything that we can do 5 years from now. Because we do not know what our income and our expenses will be that we have absolutely no control over.
But it will not be removed at this point from the 5-year plan.
That's what we're here to talk about. I like your point. I agree with you. If I lived out there, I'd feel the same way.
Good.
Joe
Hey,
Healy,
Joe.
live in Yankton. So just kind of to reiterate some of the, got off topic a little bit too. This actually, I think, was on the longer than 2020 because we planned on milling it. It was on the plan probably a couple of years long or before that, but
to reiterate, kind of in 2020 or 2019 when we talked about this, the dollars were there to mill the road and plan to do a double chip seal, turn it back to hard surface. We were ready to move forward with that. At the last minute, we paused and said, well, 46 is going to be redone. We don't want to destroy a brand new road. So we move forward with the milling with as much of a promise as you can have that this is going to go into the 5-year plan. The funding was there, and this road, the only reason we were pushing it out was with that guarantee that this is going to be done. And I think so let me reiterate or go back to, there's kind of a couple things in discussion right now, and we haven't really nailed down any of them. One of them, I think why people are here is comments at the budget meeting to pull it out due to funding. There's also a request to move it to 2025, and then also I think people would like to see it done in 24. To me, the removing it isn't even should not be part of the discussion, because this was approved as that package deal. We will move it back, but we will pave it, and it will be in the 5-year plan. It'll stay in the 5-year plan. And I understand costs of everything have increased. Part of that is, we need to juggle projects, and I'm not criticizing anyway, because I think it's a good thing, but just this year, we moved several projects from a chip seal to a microsurfacing for probably another 60 to 70% of the cost. And budgeting and funding was not an issue to do so. There's other projects that have been on that 5-year plan. There's newer projects on that 5-year plan, and I kind of question why those aren't part of the discussion versus we'll single out one project to remove. Now, if the need to push it to 2025 due to 46 construction being delayed, if that's the discussion, it's probably warranted. But I do agree with Mike that I think the people here want some sort of assurance that we're not just kicking the can and now you're going to pull the rug out again. And kind of comments to the Kaiser Road people. I sat here and we had some of those discussions too a year ago, and whether to do 294 or Kaiser Road isn't the discussion. The discussion on the agenda is 294 because it's been an approved project, and in my opinion, when we approved this in 2019, it was a package deal. It wasn't, we will reevaluate the funding or the finances unless something absolutely crazy came up. But there again, we're continuing to fund other projects. In fact, we're increasing the spending on other projects and talking about pulling this one off, and I just don't think that's right. So I would try to keep the discussion to what year it's done and keeping some assurance to the people if I had my say. Thank you.
I live on 294th, and as that Goodrich was saying, our dust it's beyond livable. I mean, it's a asphalt dust with an aggregate in there for binding. That's what we're breathing when somebody drives by, not just gravel dust, which is natural dust out of the ground. So what chemicals are we, it sucks. Our roads, our house, everything, and it's not what, over 50 years ago, our families probably paid more taxes then to have the road asphalted. So in the 50 years, they paid for maintaining it. 50, 60, how many years it's been done? So you can't say that we ain't paying enough money. We've been paying the taxes.
I don't think anybody said that.
Well, either way, I'm just saying we've paid to have an oil road there or a sealed road. We aren't just what you can go throw off your 5-year plan. I don't know what you want to get on a 5-year plan for. The way this is, it doesn't do any good. I don't see any reason why we should believe that a 5-year plan is any good when you do this.
So I'm gonna, not argue with you, but I'm gonna ask a question. You farm, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I built a new house along there 20 years ago.
So if you're farming and you make a 5-year plan on what you're gonna plant rotationally over the years, and corn goes to $2, what do you do?
Well, the first thing, if I
You
promised
change the
somebody
plan.
what I
You
was,
change the plan.
if I promised somebody I was gonna do that or guaranteed it, I would make that the guarantee. I would take away from buying a new tractor or buying a new combine. I would cover what I said I would do.
Ma'am, you
Heidi,
wanting to talk, or?
Yeah, I'm his wife.
Oh.
I'm Heidi. I live on 294th.
What's your first name?
Heidi. As Joe said, what we were all here for today, this was put in the 5-year plan. And now all of a sudden, the discussion is, we gotta either do this or this.
Three options.
Okay, 3 options, whatever, if it's 5 options, 6 options. Why was it put in the 5-year plan then? And said it would be done. I think all of us would be okay with it being done in 2025.
I don't trust him no more.
I've got a severe respiratory disease. I can't even go outside. I haven't been outside since this has been chewed up, whatever. My grandkids, they can't play outside. I'm not trying to get anybody's sympathy. I'm just trying to say, if this was in the plan, why is it gonna be taken out? I don't think it's right that it's taken out. I think we all, like Joe said, just want some reassurance that this will be done.
I think it should be done, but I think we need to wait till 46
And I
is
agree.
finished, and I'm not sure why 46 was moved back, but
I agree completely, and I
but
think.
I personally don't think it should be taken out of the plan. I think it should just be moved back.
I don't
And
think
in the
anybody said
interim-
we're taking it out of the plan.
It was said.
It was on the
a
last.
couple of Fridays ago.
Yeah, it was in the last county commission meeting. We watched it, and at that meeting, it was either doing 294th or the Stone Church Bridge Road.
No, I think
One or
that-
the other.
I think that was just a comment, but would it help at all if as this gentleman suggested, that the speed limit be reduced significantly?
No.
Because
Well,
Yeah.
I get that, but if you have a deputy out there and give
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
but we
tickets
won't.
out, they might
We
appreciate
won't.
it.
They can't have one out there. Can't do it.
I followed, now that you bring that up, there was a kid, when was that, in the spring, a kid from the colony, driving a semi. I don't know if it was loaded or unloaded. Anyway, I was sitting out at my mailbox, getting my mail. If I would've backed up, that kid would've hit me and killed me. He was going at least 70, 75 on that road. And I followed him all the way to the colony that day. And I explained to him that just 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, no idea. Doesn't care. The sooner you can get it done, the better.
Probably doesn't have a CDL either.
No, probably not. A lot of,
Okay.
we're getting a lot of semis on that truck, and you're
We-
not gonna get a 25 mile an hour,
We know,
unfortunately.
we know and we understand your feelings pretty well. Are we ready to,
Well, just make note, that's a chemical dust, not
Yeah,
a regular dust.
what is
So-
injected into that asphalt?
Mike?
That might be a Mike question.
What is injected into that?
Base one.
Which
It's
is,
just base stabilization chemical.
so it's the
chemical.
chemical that we're breathing in. Is this
No,
toxic?
there was
Is it
nothing-
harmful?
No, there was nothing no chemical blended in when they built it, zero.
Okay.
But the asphalt is in there.
All that's left, all that was there is gravel and asphalt.
And like Tom said, it's not a regular, our daughter and son-in-law live on a gravel road up in Hanson County where it's very, very poorly maintained. That dust, that gravel dust is nothing compared to what this dust is on our road. Thank you.
You guys.
Thank you very
You guys
much,
don't
folks.
want to reduce speed limit sign? Would that help you even a little
Somebody
bit?
else can talk about that. but-
Okay.
Doesn't do any good, Dan, unless we enforce it.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
Ford, nobody's staying at the.
Why can't we enforce it?
Yeah,
Why can't we enforce it?
Yeah, why can't we?
I was gonna ask, this has been ground up.
Yeah.
And so it's actually kind of like a construction project that's been delayed, pretty much based on 46's.
Not necessarily,
But
Ryan.
But-
We had, let's everybody please quit so we can have just one person talking. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Ryan?
Yeah, I was just kind of getting, as like, I don't know if is there any way we can try to get better enforcement for speed up there? Then, obviously just patrolling it gets one person one day, but is there any other way of putting in traffic? It might be my question, is there something that we can do to try to create a better, or control the traffic speed any better? Do we have any resources other than just lowering the speed limit?
We got that everywhere. It's only as good as the people that are gonna follow it. Law enforcement, yes, that'd be great. They can't be everywhere all the time.
We ground up the Tabor Road, didn't we? Part of it?
What's
Part of
that?
the Tabor Road was the road going from Utica to Tabor?
Utica to Joe's substation.
Yeah, Joe's substation.
Yeah, that got ground up.
Same kind of issue.
Yep.
301?
303 and 449. 293rd Street up by Stone Church, that got milled up and that's stayed milled up.
When we originally had these initial road challenges,
Out of all these roads.
we set priority roads, A,
Out of all-
B, and C.
Out of all the roads that we have milled up and left milled up.
This is an A
This is,
road.
this is a road that was originally on the plan from day one. The rest of them were never on the plan to put back.
This is, 494 was an A1, right?
Yes, that, I
So
bet
it-
you the map is still stashed back there.
High priority use needs to have attention given to that before you go and spend a bunch of money improving another road.
What I was gonna come back up for was, we've probably saved, I don't know how much money by not repaving or resurfacing that right away in 2020 or 2021, by giving it the chance to have 46 done. So we've saved money on taxes there, so can't that count towards also the fact that we're gonna,
In one case, the we is Yankton County, the other case, the we is the state.
what?
In one case, it's Yankton County,
Well, it's saved Yankton County some money.
yeah, we get so much tax money and that's what we deal with.
Yeah, well, this is saying that we didn't do the road right away when it was approved to. And instead, we're waiting for 46 to get done.
Just by a show of hands, this is only for me. Goes to the state for schools, for the school systems. What was that? What amount?
I don't have it right off the top of my head, but I have looked at it. I have it all documented.
What do you think it is?
I'm one of those strange people that dissects my property tax bill.
Well, the property tax, what is it, 70 some?
The county gets about 26%, Patty, correct me if I'm wrong, of the property tax that's collected.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and
And if we increase taxes, we still only get 26%. Unless we do a levy, I guess. Okay.
So I gotta say something here about the 5-year plan. My understanding was that the Johnson Bridge Road was supposed to be resurfaced last year. It wasn't. We're doing that this year because it's absolutely a horrible road if anybody's driven on that. It's horrible. So we have to do that this year. Joe said that we're spending more money. We reduced the cost of the Tabor Road that's been on the 5-year plan also by microsurfacing it instead of overlaying it like the previous commission agreed to do. So we're not out here spending more money this year and cutting money out of next year's budget just because we don't want to do Road 394. We've actually saved some money this year by making those adjustments. And we'll make adjustments to the 5-year plan as needed.
Right, I agree with that, but cost, that's why
Mike,
we,
get up there.
that is 100% why we changed the Tabor Road from asphalt overlay to microsurfacing, was because this year asphalt prices went up $14 a ton. And we didn't want to fall behind on projects, so
Right.
that's why we changed what we did change. Yes, a 5-year plan, we try to follow it as close as we can, but sometimes you just have to change a few things. And the road can change too, a different road something else can take precedence.
And Mike and I discussed this for several hours to make the changes in this year's 5-year plan and possibly adjust next year's 5-year plan. We never discussed or talked about taking it off. Things might happen next year. I mean, it still may be in the works. We just got to make that decision now to push it off if possible, or if it has to be.
One last comment.
All I have to say is, you're not gonna solve any problems by kicking this thing down the road. We hear about the bridge problem, we got the road problems. We drive back and forth to Sioux Falls very frequently, and Yankton County's got the worst roads in any neighboring county. And you know it as soon as you hit Yankton County, because you start falling potholes and chuck holes. So, you committed yourselves to redoing this road, and I sure hope you guys can stick to that.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir?
Gary Sillingson. Any other comments by the commission? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Well, I have two motions, but I don't know if I can make two in one motion. I would move to reduce the speed limit on 294th Street down to 25. And I would move the resurfacing, or whatever you want to call it, fixing of that road to 2025 after the Highway 46 is done, because it doesn't make any sense to me to do it and then have 46 ruin it and then do it again.
Rob, doesn't the reduction in speed have to be via a resolution? So we probably can't act on that this meeting. So next meeting, you can put that on.
We'll put that on for the next meeting, so then I'll only do the second part.
Okay.
They're gonna be posted after the resolution is
Yeah.
passed. Otherwise, we can put the signs up and if someone get a ticket, they can take it to court and nothing will happen.
Well, we have to wait until we follow the steps. I'd like to do it today, but I'm not in charge of the world, so then I would modify my motion to moving to the repair of 294th Street from the 2023 5-year portion of the 5-year plan to 2025.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Wanda,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Don.
Yes. Thank you, folks. Appreciate your dedication to your areas and standing up and speaking about what you want. And
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
let everybody kind of clear out.
I'm probably out of line here, but my name is Bill McMenamy. I've been in front of you guys before.
Sir,
You
sir,
know-
what?
He's from 301, right? Are you
I'm-
from I live on 301?
I live on Kaiser Road. Okay?
So
I got a question.
No, the agenda item was discussed, thank you.
You have to wait till public comment.
Public
Oh,
comment,
okay.
put your name on it. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the July 5th, 2023 minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve July 5th, 2023 minutes.
John approves.
Second.
Dan seconds. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same, motion carries. Next, the July 14 minutes.
Move approval.
Dan moves
Second.
approval. Wanda seconds. Discussion.
I think it was Ryan.
Ryan? I'm sorry, Ryan.
It's okay. It's just a
I've been
second.
called worse.
Yeah, and the discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed the same. Next, the claims.
I would move to approve part one of the claims.
Second.
Motion and a second. Motion by Wanda, second by John to approve part one of the claims. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed the same. Motion carries.
I move to approve the second part of the claims.
I'll second.
Motion by John, second by Ryan. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 I'm
Opposed the same.
I'm abstaining.
One abstention. Next item on the agenda, the auditor.
Did you say all in favor?
Yeah, I did. I think I did. All in favor of the claims? Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
except one
Yeah, because you
abstention.
abstained.
Move approval of the auditor report.
Second.
Well,
First, we gotta do the July 23 payroll.
Oh,
Oh, move approval.
second.
Got approval, second by Wanda. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed the same, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the 2024 budget,
provisional.
provisional budget.
And then I'll advertise, and the hearing will be at the September 19th meeting, where you'll approve the provisional as the annual.
I had one issue that I guess I couldn't remember the results of. Where did we leave the boys and girls request at the last meeting?
You left it at 35.
I think we left it at
at
what
35.
they
Okay.
requested.
Yeah.
I did speak with Dr. Kindle, and he said that he would look and see if he could find a place that he could support that effort more. Did indicate that the school system does the busing in town, and that's at no charge. And so anyway, he's going to look at it. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody else about it.
John, are you going to take public comment on your budget?
Sure.
Lauren Nelson, Yankton. I was one of those, I sat here during your budget hearing, the first one that you had, and then you kept me company on the way home from Rapid City on Friday. You know, you sit here and you look at these people here. There's some people that are hot about roads. That's your job. Your job as county commissioners is safety and roads. I cannot go out and build a road. You know, I cannot go when somebody needs an ambulance or a first responder. There needs to be a paramedic, somebody. That's your job. When I sat here and I listened to the laundry list of requests of money from organizations that I can support as an individual, as a private citizen, I can support those organizations. I can't, like I said, I can't go out and build a road. And so when you do your budget, I wish you would start with those things that you must fund. And that's one thing is roads.
No, I think the things that we do start with that, don't we?
Yeah, Lauren.
We do start with that.
Yeah, and
that's
yeah, that
75%, probably with the wages and salaries, it's well
Yeah,
over
yep,
75% of the
yep.
budget.
But for people to sit here and concerned about their roads being done, while we are sitting here giving money to the Boys and Girls Club, the homeless shelter, the Crane Young, whatever that house, the house is, Thrive. I can support those as a private citizen. It's like me having children and saying, well, I can't buy you clothes this month, or I can't buy you some, food, but I'm sitting at Starbucks buying my $5 drink, because that's one of the comments that I heard. Oh, that's just a little part of that budget. That's not going to make a big difference. It adds up. It adds up. So I'm just saying, I just fund the things that you have to fund and you are required to fund for public service.
I don't know that there's anything in any ordinance, state law, that says we have to provide asphalt roads for every square mile of Yankton County or any other county in the state.
Roads are actually not statutorily required. It's one of the odd things. If you want to look at this diagram I have right here, this is on average of the counties. 88.36% of county budgets on average are on statutory requirements: auditor, register of deeds, state's attorney, poor relief. And Rob will tell you, if we got somebody who can't, who's indigent, we pay to prosecute them, and we also pay to defend them, and we pay to put them in jail. And if they get hurt in jail, we pay for that.
And we pay to have them examined by medical.
Yes.
But don't.
And those
Yeah.
are statute. And so there are some that when I first started, I are iffy. But like the homeless shelter, for example, if they're in there and they're getting the help they need, then they're not in jail, and hopefully they can get on their feet. The contact center is probably another one that we have a statutory, whether we like it or not, we have a statutory obligation for the poor and for the mentally ill. And if they can get some food, maybe they're not going into the hospital, and maybe we can avoid writing another $190,000 check to Avera, which we've just did a couple
And I
months ago.
understand, I understand the statutory, but the thing about it is you just sat here saying $35,000 to the Boys and Girls Club.
That's for juvenile detention,
Yeah.
because we spent
That's trying-
$280,000.
That's trying.
When a juvenile gets detained, whether it's in the city or in the county, within Yankton County, it is on, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, it's on our responsibility. They go up to Sioux Falls, it's $250 a day, going to $485 a day.
58.
So if we can spend $30,000 to avoid 10 of those juveniles going to Sioux Falls, we save a huge amount of money. It doesn't seem like it, but yeah, was it
And I-
I don't think there's
250,000 last
anybody
year?
sitting at
Right.
this desk that wouldn't improve every road in the county if we could, if we had the money. If we had a way that we could even possibly see
Yes.
that we could make the down payment on it with a huge grant. It isn't there.
There's there's between 15 and 17 counties that are literally on the verge of bankruptcy within the next couple years. And I know we get criticized on our roads. We have a jail that's almost paid for. We have a nice government center. We have a courtroom over there. A lot of counties don't. Clay County is building a new jail, 44 beds, $44 million. Guess where that's gonna come from? Their roads. And so we have a new highway shop too. So we're actually in a pretty good shape compared to some of the other counties. Lincoln County spends $2.5 million every month on paying Minnehaha for prisoners. And we make almost $1 million a year off our jail. That'll be paid off in 2025.
Yeah, and I understand it, because I sat here and I listened, and I understand the statutory, and I understand all that.
Yeah.
The thing about is what I am saying is the senior citizen center.
The problem is.
Is that statutory? Is that in law that you support that?
No, but
See, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm on the board with the senior center, and if we didn't support them, there would be seniors who don't eat a proper meal and wouldn't be cared for, and guess what would happen? They don't have a lot of money. They would end up going to the hospital, and
County pays
we would
for it.
end up paying $200,000 because they're in the hospital, because they're indigent and they don't have the means. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't agree with it either, but that is the way the rules are written.
Part of the problem is, you say private donations could go to support those things. Well, that's all well and good, but people aren't donating. I ran into somebody today who was carrying 8 sacks of groceries out of the contact center. Should I have just said, oh, wait, go to Hy-Vee, go to Walmart, buy your food? Apparently, they needed food, and a contact center felt that they were eligible, I don't know if that's the appropriate word, for 8 big sacks of groceries.
I think one of the things that we lose perspective on in the county is that, I want to say, maybe close to 17 or 18% of the population of the county, the taxpayers, live in the lake area, Yankton proper, or the small towns in the county. They have rights, they have issues that are important to them too, and we have to deal with that.
Yeah, because I've been working for a nonprofit for how many years? And understand, when we don't have money, we have to fundraise it. We have to go out and get it and find it. And we work hard to do that. So what I'm saying is, what I'm wondering too is, who can come, what nonprofits can come before you and ask for money? I mean, can Zoe care?
Well, I mean, I think.
You know what I mean? You know, that's the question that I had.
Any of them can.
Any of them can.
It's whether or not the commission will choose to fund them.
Yeah.
But if you're a nonprofit and you do fundraisers, say like Sacred Heart School, for example, they do a fundraiser every year. And I know the Boys and Girls Club does at least one fundraiser every year with the car raffle tickets. I mean, everybody's trying to get a limited number of dollars. There's only so many dollars out there. Believe me, if we had dollars, we'd be raining them down on people, but we don't have them.
And another thing to consider, we had quite a few people ask us for an increase this year, but if you're a nonprofit, more than likely you don't pay property tax to the county. And so we had multiple people ask for raises, and we had to say, well, you're not paying XYZ in property tax to us. And they didn't realize it, so they're getting a benefit of that as well. I asked the Director of Equalization how much we're not getting for nonprofits, and they haven't even calculated, but I bet you it's gotta be over 100 million. I know for veterans, it's over almost 10 million, and nonprofits, hospital, churches, all those, and I'm not saying not do it, it's not a good thing, but it has to be hundreds of millions of dollars in assessed valuation. And that's just the way the rules are written.
Yeah, but as Dan said, it's like, there was several that
Yeah.
we did not, they asked for more and we did not give them
Yeah.
more, and I think,
Yeah.
and to that point, yeah, there is places where it's like, yes, we don't have endless pockets, and so we tighten the purse strings on those that are non-essential.
Yep, oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Lloyd. Geez,
Oh,
I haven't
God,
seen
here we
you
go.
for months.
I'm a little busy.
Really?
Are you done being busy now?
Yeah, no, not really. Jay Cuts. I think you guys missed Laura's thing is nonprofits. And I've been complaining about nonprofits for 40 years. That the county commissioner takes my tax money and gives it to a nonprofit that takes away my ability to take a tax deduction and give money to a nonprofit. Sounds really foolish to me. And I agree with you that nonprofits have to raise money. But why do they come and take tax money that maybe I don't want to give to that nonprofit, but I am, because you guys have given it to them. Now, I can take my money and give it to any nonprofit I want, and I get a tax deduction for it. You're taking away that ability
You get
of
a
mine.
tax deduction for real estate taxes.
No, if I give a donation
I
to a
get that,
nonprofit.
but you also get a deduction for real estate taxes. Yeah. He's a farmer, he itemizes.
Yeah, of course, but the nonprofit thing is the issue. Why do we give money to a nonprofit? That, I have never understood that, and I never will, because they need to go out and fundraise from the local community to fund their nonprofit. And
I've asked you to run for county commission several times.
Yeah, that's nice. But I think that's part of what Laura was trying to say is, why in the world are we giving tax money to nonprofits when it really should be coming from the community, is all.
Yeah, and again, like I like the Boys and Girls Club, there is ways we justify giving to a nonprofit, and that is when we hope to see a return on our investment.
If there's
Savings
a
in other
program
places.
that fits
Yes.
the situation in a that sort of thing, I really don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Would I give it to the Boys and Girls Club? Probably not. It'd probably run through the sheriff's office, but that's just my point of view.
Yeah.
Do you have a nonprofit you'd like to see us not fund? In
None of
particular?
them.
None of them?
I wouldn't fund any of them.
I'll hold my comments till later. Strategic planning, Gary.
I need a motion.
Oh, motion to approve the provisional budget.
My only thing too, again, with the provisional budget is, we did all agree to apply for the Stone Church Bridge Improvement Grant, and I'm hoping that that comes through. If that does come through, that's gonna be $2.5 million. We're gonna have to find that money somewhere. So where are we gonna find that? And if we don't plan for it, that's the most likely way that we're gonna get it.
And
So how do we do it? We all voted and said, yes, we're gonna
just a small
submit this.
correction, but based on the numbers that were thrown out there during that agreement, it'd be about 2.9 to
Okay.
3.25
That's,
million.
which is even
A little worse
worse,
than what you
so where are we
stated, yeah.
finding that at, I guess? I mean, cause we.
The problem is, it's hard to budget for something you don't know if it's gonna happen.
But.
So you can't just sit over here with $3 million and go, we're not gonna do the road, and we're not gonna fund the sheriff, and we're not gonna take care of
I'm not
criminals.
saying that because statutorily, we have to fund what we have to fund. That realistically, the only place that we're able to take that funding is out of the highway department. Because that's the only thing that's not statutorily required, and that's the biggest budget item we have. So if we do get selected for that bridge improvement grant, we're either gonna A, have to turn it down, or B, do a massive shift on our projects to make it work. I don't see another option there. I mean,
That
do
would
you
be, I
guys?
think that would be what you would have to do. If that actually came through and we actually have the potential there, then we would have to go to that 5-year plan and reassess
So-
everything and change a plan. And that's part of a plan. Like, you can make a plan saying it's gonna happen in 5 years, but things come up and you have
Yeah.
to be at least a little bit malleable to work with things.
When we do the 5-year plan, then I think we should have a plan A that, and this is what we're proposing, but a Plan B that if we do get the bridge improvement grant, these projects are gonna have to go on the back burner, just so everybody's aware.
That might be a good idea.
One
And
of the
who
first.
knows, maybe one of us will win $1.5 million in Mega Millions.
Well, that wouldn't be enough.
It's
though.
billions, not millions.
That wouldn't be
Didn't I
enough.
say billion?
No, I thought you said
1.5
million.
billion with a B.
On the realistic side, one of the things that I think we have to do when you talk about Stone Bridge or any of the other three, is we gotta decide which ones of those are we not gonna support. It's crazy for us to try to finance 4 $15 million bridges in Yankton County.
Correct.
I don't know, a commitment was made by the last commission to fix them. So doesn't that?
Dan,
mean
I
we
don't,
have to-
I don't remember any promise
I
on
wasn't on that
494.
commission.
And I don't remember any
either.
promise on Stone Church Bridge.
I don't
We do
either.
what we can do.
No, and that's an excellent point.
I have a motion. Did
I
get a
move to
second?
approve the provisional budget.
Wanda, second. I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed the same, motion carries. Next item, strategic planning.
I'll go first.
Okay,
My strategic planning plan is not done yet, but I have done a lot of different things in anticipation of getting something worthwhile to present.
Brian?
Yeah, well, I have an updated strategic plan one-pager.
Oh, look at you.
And then, along with it, I do have one estimate here that we're probably going to, yeah. So, yeah, so we have some of the things in progress already. Obviously, we have a inventory up and we're getting a lot of this new equipment ordered, for new hardware ordered. The one thing I really want to do is bring MS Enterprise, Microsoft Enterprise software across the board, rather than individual licenses running around. We can save some money. It won't be a significant amount of money, but it'll be a little bit of money. But the bigger savings is that the maintenance on the software will all be simplified. And
Will it be less?
what? It'd be less money for the software and less money to maintain it. So, and with that also, we would then everyone would also have Microsoft Teams. It makes it a lot easier to interface with peer. We can also start integrating that into our meeting systems here so that we can run meetings a little bit better when we have someone remoting in, calling in. They can come in on Teams and it'll be a much more cleaner interface. And hopefully I'd like to also bring this projector in onto that Teams view as well. We can record the whole session. Anyone bringing a presentation then on YouTube when we record it can also see the presentation that we're seeing here clearly as if it's on a computer screen. So it'll be a little bit of a change, but I hope to actually start demonstrating this Teams approach for our meetings with our task force. So
You
start
mentioned it,
introducing
and I'm looking forward to it.
And so we have that. The other big thing I really want to do is I do want to get the county back onto social media. We need to do it right, so we need to have a dedicated employee who is a social media person who's the point of contact for maintaining that. Shouldn't be any of the, should not be someone who's elected, just for safety's sake. But then also, I'm still looking into possibly trying to see if we can do something better for our website as well. So, and that'll take a little bit more time. I don't know if that would be achievable in this year, but at least with getting onto social media, we can maybe start getting some more feedback from the public. We could also even start looking at where people can attend meetings virtually and give us more feedback virtually, especially when we have like full meetings like tonight, and people don't have to sit and wait through the whole meeting just to comment on their one piece. So
Great. I think when I asked for it to be on the agenda tonight, I asked for discussions just like we've had. Would like to bring it up for recommended changes at the next meeting and get it in hard copy and start monitoring it. So Dan?
Yeah, again, you guys got the proposal that I sent out for the ambulance task force. John and I looked it over. There was a meeting on 7/21 with Troy and Eric and John and Gary, and everybody's on the same page that they believe that this is the path forward. So gonna move it forward to the next meeting to have your guys' approval. I haven't heard anything back from any of you guys, so I assume you're good with it.
I'd
You
like to
guys?
see a hard copy.
You've gotten one, and I've emailed it to you as well.
I think we're trying to get with the city though also.
Yeah, we're, on the 14th, we're gonna present with the city and ask them to pay for half of the study, because 95% of the calls are in the city, and at least at this point, they seem open to that.
My intention, as I looked at the
Sure.
examples we were given by District 3
Mhm.
and recommendations from other
Mhm.
Counties around the United States,
Mhm.
they had a uniform presentation on
Mhm.
each one.
Mhm.
I'd like to take the final one after we've
Sure.
made recommended changes to what you got and run them by Eric Ambrosia and have him put it together in a package for the public to look at and review.
Okay, yeah, I guess we can probably. Okay. I have it.
I don't
I
need to
have
see
it
a
here.
copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll be bringing that forward for approval for the cost of doing that study next meeting.
Yeah.
And it's two phases. The first is the dive into the system and the process, so where we can get the efficiencies. The second part would be moving forward with setting up an ambulance district. But we can just do phase one and then decide later on at that
Okay,
point,
so for all of us, not what's necessarily
Sure.
what you're talking about, but for all of us, I think the intention is, my intention, and
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, you guys yell at me, but my intention is we look at the plans, we make comments on it. If there are none, then we take it to finalization.
Okay.
If there's comments, we discuss them and decide what changes could be made. I believe that we have to do a good job of follow-up and control at the end.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of public input, and, you know, the consultants will go through and dig pretty deep. And John, you've been in on this. I've been working pretty close with him, and you're comfortable with the plan at this point, correct?
Yeah, as long as we can get.
Yeah, so.
Everybody here needs to see it.
Yeah, and you guys have all gotten hard copies and emailed to them, right?
And that's
So.
that's just the consulting part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once all the data, and this is gonna be really a public education process too, because the public, they grab their phone and they call 911 and they expect an ambulance to be there lickety-split. But what I don't think they realize is all the costs that are incurred in that and how the billing is set up.
I don't think they care.
Well, they're gonna care if we go bankrupt and can't provide the service, and really, we're probably not that far away if we continue on the path that we're
I
on.
don't want to say bankrupt.
No.
I want to say, in the ambulance area,
Yeah.
The point of where
Yeah.
we can afford to continue as
Well,
we are or not.
Well said, well
Because
said.
bankruptcy,
Yeah.
the impression.
Is
You said that
offensive
very
to
good.
him.
Yeah.
You said that very well, and so that's the path we're on, and so, any
Yep.
questions from you guys? And, all
Okay.
right, so it'll be on the next meeting, Gary, and and
How,
we'll get a decision.
How is the new ambulance administrator?
He's the
how's-
liaison.
Yeah, how is he?
He's fitting in very well.
Yeah, how is has he looked at the plant,
Yeah, he's.
Yeah,
proposal
he's
there and
on
stuff?
board,
Yeah.
and his experience with being the president of the Ambulance Association for the state really helps us out, because he's seen, all the different ways ambulances are set up, and he knows what works.
Then why
and
do we
what
need,
doesn't work.
then why do we need a study?
Okay, do you,
Why don't we just take that money, however much it is,
It's
and
not-
use it to educate the
it's not
people
the-
and have them come in and understand that $1 per, or 50 cents per thousand of the value of their real estate, and nobody's gonna like that, will go to fund the ambulance service, and then it will be self-supporting.
It's gonna be a lot more than that.
yeah.
How much is it gonna be?
The consulting cost
Well,
is
look at
not-
his budget now. It's over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
1.4 million is the ambulance. budget.
Well, how much
3 or
property
24.
tax valuation do we have?
Well, for instance, that, for the historical, the historical is 50 cents per thousand, and they're getting, proposed for next year, 128,000.
So what are you
your levy is
saying?
gonna have to be more than 50 cents.
Well, throw out a number. What number?
I
Because
don't- I don't know.
the people,
I don't want to go there
We're getting
anymore there now. Let's,
Cart in front of the
Yeah,
horse here.
exactly.
let's go on to,
So if you have any
next week,
questions,
when
let
we
me
do
know.
that, we'll have a discussion, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Okay, John?
I didn't get mine printed out, but I did meet with Eric a couple weeks ago and put it into the floor plan like you wanted. And we did discuss on, like you're mentioning, of bringing everyone's into the fold and having Eric go through it all and put it all together, because I'm assuming there's gonna be some
And
duplications also.
this is, Ryan, what you got here is all he'll need.
What?
This is all he'd need
who he?
to
Yeah.
Eric
Yeah,
Ambrosia,
Oh.
District 3. And, he might want to sit down and talk with you and ask you questions and add something, or take it
Oh, yeah.
out. But yeah, you got the information down that I think we need.
Yep.
And I met with Gary, and we went over a solar plan, and we'll take that next meeting also. Thank you. We're back to that.
I think he left.
Public comment.
We're back to that public comment.
Gary, is that guy still here, or is he out?
No, he left.
He left.
Hearing no public comment. Commissioner updates.
Start on that side.
Well, I only have the one, is the task force will be meeting on Thursday. Again, we
I
have.
thought it was
we're-
Friday.
Or is
Friday
Thursday?
afternoon, is that
Was it? I had it written down as Thursday at 3.
That's your busy day.
Thought I said Fridays, because Thursday afternoons are not a good day for me.
Oh, I had it written down as Thursdays on my calendar here.
Let me go, it's on our calendar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Fridays.
In the meantime, Dan,
Yeah, the State Task Force for Public Defenders met, and they're advising that there be basically a state set up a fund that would cover the indigent services. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. I'm not,
I kind of read that, and I don't know that that's a great deal either.
well, it's better than us paying for it. Another thing, I guess, that I've gotten a few calls on is for those people who've been paying attention, in Wygon Recreation Area, had some warnings for
We
like
just write it down.
an
hold it, please.
Wait,
Hold it,
we-
we got one guy talking, please.
Wygon in Nebraska had an E. coli outbreak. It's at 1400 level. anything over 2 is not safe for emergent recreation. And I guess they're doing some samples on the South Dakota side, and it'll be determined whether or not the beaches get closed down. Then we should probably know that tomorrow, but just so everybody's aware of that. So nothing to be alarmed. It's not dangerous. You can still be on the boat, but.
Don't get in the water.
Well, I'm not saying that, but just so people can make an informed decision about recreation, so.
John?
I don't have anything for update.
Okay,
It was marked down on Thursday, so Ryan will send out an email.
Are we going into an
I'll do
executive
a
session?
meeting change request, I guess, and see if it works for anyone, if you
Yeah,
want to
we
move
had
it to
it on
Friday.
Wednesday last week, and I thought we had decided 3 to 5 Thursdays for the next 4 Thursdays.
I thought your invitations were for Fridays.
No,
Thursday.
I just looked at my calendar,
Yeah.
so.
I can make Friday, 3 to 5 I
He
can
said
probably
usually
make.
Thursday afternoons or.
I can make that. I thought the invitations.
And that was what was sent for me for also.
I would move to go into executive session for personnel issues and poor relief issues.
Second.
have a motion, Wanda, a second, Ryan, to go into executive session. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same, we are in executive session. You guys, I'm sorry, I cut your chattering off. We couldn't hear nothing.
Don't change anything.
Thanks, Dan.
I don't know any of my neighbors.
Oh, I thought, didn't he say, John, I'm by you? Maybe he didn't. Hey, Rob?
go on the wrong side of the road, drive to go to Washington in the fog. Oh, gee. And, yeah, when it's in the fog, it's just like, it's not very smart. So I called, I went down to the concrete materials, or Dutch Justice. That's polite, it's just like, yeah. Well, it is.
was the
I mean, does he come in here and move that shit around?
He wrote it as such.
You wanna come back in? Oh, earlier. Yeah, no, I texted her.
Dan, close that door so we don't have to listen.
Never.
Or do we need Patty? I think we need Patty. What?
I just asked him how come the TV wasn't working out there, because there's about 8, 10 people out there in the beginning of your meeting that couldn't get their heads in the door and couldn't
Yeah.
hear.
Well, I told them we have more chairs.
I think it was pretty full. at the beginning of the
They could come all the way up
meeting.
here.
Put 'em right up there. Yeah.
Won't bother me.
Did you,
There's 2 here.
I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I would move that we come out.
Wanda moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Ryan seconds, discussion, all in favor say yes.
Aye.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I followed directions.
Good man.
Thank you.
We are out of executive session.
I would make a.
Wanda, microphone.
It's on.
No, it isn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One
Thank
for
you.
us- One for us, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Clemish, for pointing out that
Yep.
my microphone was
You're
not on. I would make a recommendation to pay CWMI 23-02-009. Do you want the dollar amount per each one? $500. CWMI 23-02-010, $500. CW 22-4-021, $6,569.29 for a total of $7,569.21. I would further make a do you want to vote on this before?
yeah, do the first one first.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Dan seconds.
Okay, now your second one.
We don't have a choice, we have to pay him.
Yeah, but don't you want to vote on this one?
Yes, I
Yep.
do.
Oh, sorry.
Discussion.
My bad.
Favor say yes.
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 Aye.
Yes. Trick question.
Next one.
I would make a motion to deny CW 23-1-017 in the amount of, who knows, pursuant to SDCL 28-13-34.1.
Can I have that, Wanda?
Sure, you may have
Second.
this.
Second.
The motion.
Thank you.
By Wanda, second by Dan, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed the same, motion carries. Items for next meeting.
And I have, before you go, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, I need to know who we're going to the state convention. It's in Pier this year, the 11th, 12th, and 13th,
Of what?
I'm going.
September. And I have rooms for the 11th and the 12th.
I think, Patty, is it in Sioux Falls this year?
Yes.
Yes. SDACC is covering me already for rooms.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to worry about me.
Do or do not?
Do.
So Don, Dan,
I
I
wanna
just
go.
have to know to put it on the
Yep.
registration.
I wanna go.
John,
I can go this time.
Wanda,
Good
Ryan.
training. Hey,
September 11th.
damn.
11th,
Well,
I have
11th
rooms for
is
the
get
11th.
there and-
I mean, if,
It starts on the 12th though, right?
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
if nobody wants to go on the 11th, I do have a room for the 12th.
Well, I would go on the 11th because I refuse to get up and drive to Pier.
Okay?
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls.
Oh,
I mean,
Sioux Falls.
yes, Wanda, it is in Pier. No, it's in Sioux Falls, so,
I thought she said Pier.
No.
no.
Oh.
So let me know if you won't be going on the Monday. I think it's, or is it Tuesday?
What time does it
Monday.
start?
Should start,
Tuesday morning at doing golf on Monday, if anybody was going golfing.
No.
Like otherwise, it starts Tuesday morning till Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I guess I'll do the
I'll be-
Tuesday,
I'll be
Wednesday, I
going
won't do the
Tuesday
Monday.
morning.
Okay. You go up Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning.
Is
I'll go-
anybody going up 11?
No.
You're
I
already
am, but
set.
I'm taken care of
Yep, you're
already.
set.
No, I'll drive in the
Okay.
morning.
So I'll just have room I'll cancel the other ones for the 11th.
No, for,
I probably should stay home and celebrate my birthday with my wife on the
Oh.
11th, so.
Oh, you chicken.
well, didn't the Muslims do that for you several years ago?
They celebrated with a big candle.
Yeah, couple of candles.
For next meeting, let's do a resolution for the highway speed for 294th.
Reducing it to
Reduce it, what do you think?
25.
30? 30 is reasonable. Why 25? Well, I mean, what do we
I'm
think?
going with the guy who has kids that live in North Dakota that drive
Well,
semis up there.
I want to keep it consistent with the other gravel roads we have, and I believe when we did Kaiser Road in 494, it was 30. So, do we want to have an oddball road that's 25? I don't know.
Who cares? Let's have an
Well, I mean,
oddball road.
Would you check with Mike and see what he recommends and then put that on there?
Saves money with signs, because if you
Well,
take them down.
yeah.
you can use both.
No, exactly right. I'd see what Mike recommends and,
I
yeah.
know, that's why I want it
I'll talk
25
to Mike
on
and
that
I'll let-
road.
I'll talk to Mike and I'll let.
yeah, whatever he
Okay,
recommends.
that'll be
I
fine.
heard a couple sneered comments about 25 miles an hour out of the audience.
Well, the good news is they drive fast enough, the county makes more money.
Then we'll need the admin fee resolution. You should be getting from the state's attorney's office when they,
On boats.
yeah. And Wanda and Rob will review it for us, please.
On
Thank you.
boats.
Thank you.
And then we'll have the
What?
temporary zoning for solar energy systems.
Gary, will you do that? Because you'll have a time. It'd be a special time.
We wanna do that
Okay.
next time too?
Ask Dot.
Should we do the
And it's
wheel
just the
tax
two
and
things, the definition
the
and
resolution
then
for the wheel
the
Well,
tax?
can
CUP
you wait?
requirement. Yeah,
The wheel
yeah,
tax.
Wheel tax, wheel tax.
From,
yeah.
from 4 to 10 or 12?
12. 10.
12.
12. We
The
can go
maximum,
12.
the maximum amount of wheels that we can go.
12, yeah.
Delete some things out,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll get it done.
And that,
See, we're
That-
helping you pay for them,
the West 11th,
the charities.
the resolution, do you want that? Do both of
Send
you
it to
want
both
that?
of us, please.
Okay. Okay,
Anything
motion.
else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Then the ambulance, the ambulance proposal will be on that too. Yep. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Sorry.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carries. We are adjourned.
I like the way you switch back and forth between yes and I.
Is that ambulance,
I'm trying to screw Patty up.
I see that. How's it,
Are you recording
What's
ayes
it
or
called?
yeses?